Hello, my friend. Thank you for allowing us to engage in this conversation. In the Bible that I have in front of me, in the book of Ephesians, and chapter 4, verse 29, it says, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others, building them up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." In fact, in Colossians in chapter 4, verse 6, if I'm right, over there, God says that your speech must go with grace. Let your conversation be always full of grace. Let it be sweet. So it must be seasoned with salt. People just love to listen to what you have to say so that you may know how you answer everyone. It doesn't mean don't rebuke when it's necessary. That is also in the scriptures. God says so. But whether you rebuke or admonish or warn or caution, whatever the case, it says make sure that your conversation or your talk is wholesome. Some versions said no corrupt communication should come out of your lips, but what is helpful for edifying, building up others. We have different classes of people. People who didn't get enough training from parents or have their own business. They have never worked under anybody before. So they don't know how to be corrected. They haven't learned it. Some of these people can have problems when you put them in certain positions, even in church, in ministries, in organizations. You put them in power, in politics, in workplaces, in institutions, because they have not learned how to obey instructions. One of the marks of a good leadership is a leader who knows how to be led, who knows how to also receive instructions. It's always said when you have children and you have or learn to train children, they may not be biological. You have learned to deal with children, then you can have compassion and wisdom for other children. Okay, so it's the same thing. When you're involved in something, you understand it better. That is why if you train yourself to be engaged in the way you talk when you don't like something, you see, and be careful when you are trying to talk for people, because you may not know all the facts. And because you sympathize with your friend, family member, or colleague, you want to talk on behalf of the person, and you open your mouth and say things that may be outrageous to the other people because they realize you don't really know even half the story. The person has only merely complained, grumbled, and expressed dissatisfaction to you, expressed disapproval, and you are trying to fight for the other person, speak for the other person. So you open your mouth and you are talking without getting all the facts and the information to influence what you are saying. So it is your duty, the creator of the mouth, who used words to create. Let there be light, and light came into being. He says that it is your responsibility. When he said, do not let, after all the prayer and of all the training and everything, it is your duty and responsibility to ensure that you don't have corrupt or dirty or unwholesome, is unwelcome communication to come out of your mouth. It must be helpful, help people. It must build them up, not tear them down, according to their needs. Remember, the mouth speaks, but actions speak too. Some actions can speak so loudly that they are so disrespectful, and they speak volumes. The interpretation can go a long way than even a statement from your lips. Just be aware of that. Now let's add to this statement, this idea, a few things you can observe so that your communication is affected positively. It's also supposed to help you when you're going to talk to somebody who owes you money, and you're going to collect your money. You want to call the one, you want to approach the one, or you owe money and you need to pay the other person. You see, but you're not happy if the one is asking you. But the one needs to ask you because it's taking a while and you are saying nothing and doing nothing about it. Or when someone has done something again and again and again in a relationship, especially when you have nowhere else to go. I'm talking of husband and wife. See, even if your house help, your brother, your sister, you name it, you can easily move somewhere else. But what if that is your home as a child? And typically it's a husband and a wife. That is your home. So it's not just a friend that you can boycott or avoid, but someone you have to live with day after day, night after night. So you must consider all these. If you antagonize and you don't speak well, you can create a very terrible condition for yourself. So let's look at a few factors that affect your communication. So when you're talking to the person or the person is talking to you, these can help you to discern, understand, interpret right, to know when to talk, when to be quiet, when to proceed, when to take time to listen, reading between the lines and all that. Number one, your personality and temperament will always affect your communication. The person who is sanguine, as they call it, hey, will be very expressive. It can be carnal too, or casual. That's the better word. Casual. And says things casually, something he doesn't mean, jokingly, making noise is noisy, as we put it sometimes. And from time to time, the one is loud. While a melancholic or a phlegmatic who takes time to observe before taking decisions or is very, very sensitive to things, will be very careful and sensitive to what he or she is communicating. And therefore, the words may be few, whilst the other one says a lot. You know, women talk more than men, okay? So just be aware of that. But I'm talking of your personal temperament. No one has only one temperament. It's a mixture, but one comes on top. One is dominant. There's a little bit sometimes in certain areas. So in those areas, the one may talk a little more or maybe very quiet. So just watch people. It's knowledge we use to live with people. So when you take your time and you watch the person, you can discern and do preemptive steps to avoid the thing before it comes, okay? So watch people's temperament. You need to watch. It doesn't matter how the one tells you. You may know the characteristics from a book, but you need to actually watch the person in interactions and know how the one receives certain things in life, okay? The second thing is the mood of the person. When a woman is in her menstrual period, from time to time, the mood will be different. When there's a sorrow or sadness, is not too happy about some exam results, there's a very important exam ahead of him or her next 2 days or tomorrow, or it's just not happy, it's a hormonal, it's a chemical thing, or something is really bothering him or her, or it's in such a happy mood that if we bring this thing that takes time to meditate on it, ponder over it, take decisive action, the one is not ready for that. So it might appear that when you told him or told her, he or she is not taking it serious. But the mood in which you put that important thing across was not the best. You could have waited for an hour when that game was over, conversation was over, the visit was over. Don't have self-control and don't try to ram it down. When you are so strong on your point also, be careful how you talk. So watch the mood of people. Your mood also can affect the way you talk. You see. Number 3, immediate and remote causes. Sometimes the way you answered me, something that happened yesterday or this morning, or what happened some time ago, and it has created a condition in my mind, giving me an impression which is affecting me whenever it comes to money. And I don't trust you. I know you are not going to make me gain. You always want to gain and have the long end of the stick, and I have the short end, and I have to lose. You are not ready to do any sensible compromise at all. And it's not the best. Sometimes an area, sometimes too, it's the whole person accepting the other person. Where you come from, and as for women, they are like this. So the whole mentality is about how to treat a woman from my background. See, or what you have said or done. So many causes. An example I saw, so I'm a little careful when it comes to this. And that goes to number 4, which is your background. See, where you were raised, examples you have seen, your environment, where you came from, advice you have been given, things you have witnessed, and it's put fear and doubt, suspicion, mistrust, and extra carefulness into your life or in particular area. Okay? So you must always be aware of that. Aware of that when you are talking to the person or when you are putting yours across. It's always good to watch, have insight. In some instances, pray for insight. If you are counseling, parenting, giving special advice, someone has a habit or a certain custom and it has to be broken through, has to be modified, and you want to help the person, they need to pray for wisdom from God and guidance to do your best to help and leave the rest to God, okay? So number 3 is immediate and remote causes. The main reason why the one is doing is that he has been sad after that death, after that loss. He didn't start life like this. You don't know what has happened for him or her to think this way. See, but don't also use some of these as an excuse to talk anyhow, be inactive, just sitting apathetic, doing nothing. You see about it because you got involved and had a problem before, or the one has made you feel inferior, so he has a superiority complex, made you feel incompetent, you see, or made you feel even useless. You see, work on yourself in that area too. And your background. You see, if you come from a background where people just open their mouth, they talk anyhow without being a thinking talker. They don't consider what they say. They just want to put it across. And typically when they are angry, like they lose their senses. You see, train yourself to be different. Sometimes we even say it, where I come from, in my home, and my mom, my dad, and that. No. The whole world was wrong at one point, and only one man called Noah was right. So the majority is not always right. Number 5, your mindset. You made up your mind that as for women, as for men, people who are divorced, people who are single parents. So once you see the one in church, when you travel, I've lived in Europe, the continent, I've lived in United Kingdom as a student, I've lived in United States, different places, and I know that one of the things that can really hurt overseas people is because people travel and they need help. And there are people who are outside your country and they think that any approach to them is going to ask them for help. So they have to guard themselves and be very careful. Not to even give room for you to be asking for any help or allow you to go too far, or invite you even into the home. But there are those who are welcome, open their hearts. You see, and the same with ministers. If you're a public figure, like some of us are a little bit, and people ask you left and right all over the place. If you're not careful, a simple phone call, oh man, is he going to ask me for money? See, like people who have traveled, as soon as they get the letter, before they open, it's money. When sometimes it's not money. They're just saying hi. It's going to ask me, you're buying this land, you're buying this car, the school fees, someone's in the hospital, the bill, that is always what they're asking for. You see? So a phone call comes and a letter comes, an email or whatever it is, they are already up in arms. Oh, no, before they read. You see, and sometimes you read, there's nothing like that. And it's the same way with some of us. In a group, where someone needs help, because he has suddenly been divorced or has become destitute, poor because laid off, finished school, can't get work, finished national service, is still struggling for the past 6 months, 1 year, or is having challenges with his or her business, and even in ministry, that you think it's going to bother you to come and help. And we have all kinds of mindsets about people. And that is why in marriage and courtship and things, once you make up your mind about a person, it's going to seriously affect your communication. What you put across, the impression you give the person, how the person thinks you look at him or her, whether you respect me, respect my opinions, I'm knowledgeable, I am backward. See, I think I know too much. Sometimes the fact that I think you know too much is why I find it difficult to take your suggestions. So you also work on yourself, you see. So mindset, and if it's negative and it is not godly and it is not right, work on it. Otherwise, you are always not going to be at peace. Even as a pastor and your associate or your assistant, as people serving on a board or a committee, in ministry, traveling together, going on the radio together, going on television together, or family living in a home. When you go out, I don't like this type of lifestyle, going out and coming in and all that. So you need to work on that. Number 6 is the gender. The gender affects. This is how women look at things. This is how men look at things. So when you're going to communicate, be careful how you say it. Don't say it as if you're talking to a man. That's a woman you're talking to. Don't talk as if you're talking to a woman. He is a man. Talk to him as a man. You see? And one of the problems we have in relationships is how to translate your need into my language. You see? Because when a woman says, you don't have time for me, I don't feel loved, and you interpret it the way a man thinks that, you're buying these gifts. You can't just buy a woman with gifts. You see? So you think your gifts are doing great and I pay fees and I do this, but there's no physical contact. There's no hugging. There's no affection. No conversation. You don't think through things with me to find my opinion, respect my opinion, take time for me to catch the vision. You see? So you try to interpret properly. When a man says you don't respect me and you take me for granted, where the woman said true, then you must know what a man means when he says you don't respect me. Very difficult if you're thinking, I do this, and the way I talk to you, and the way I do that, yeah. You see? But sometimes the introduction of some things, see, I know you won't agree with me, but, and you're fond of saying that. You see? Because I disagreed once or twice. You see, you have the right to disagree. You don't have the right to be unkind. And I didn't understand. Later on I gave in or whatever it is. But you have used it to form an impression. Or a mistake I made. Or a testimony I gave you about something of my past. You see? Or my mom, my father, my sister, my brother, my uncle came and misbehaved. Or said something to you on the phone. Or during the ceremony, the baby naming ceremony. Or when I had a baby. When we moved here. When he came and spent 3 days here or 1 week here. when my niece or nephew came on vacation. Things that happen, you have used it to form an impression about the entire family, the entire church, because of something an usher did. A pastor did something, and you think the whole church is like that. We have a lot of these. See, we have an impression about races, tribes, and all the rest of them. Sometimes one person came to marry in the family, there was a behavior, and we have used it to characterize an entire tribe, an entire city, an entire class of people. So let's work on that. You affect your communication. Usually the women think in connections, but men, they are tunneled in their thinking. So women connect or relate everything to other things, while the men just think in compartments without the connections. So the woman will connect this with that and that and that. Men don't do that, usually. You're just thinking of the issue as it is. The woman will connect things with other things. Okay? And they have more intuition than the men. And the more Bible study and meditation, the sharper it becomes. It becomes a blessing for a wise man who will see this and tap into the wisdom of a wife. Allow her input to help, which has helped me in my marriage. Okay? Number 7, desires and ambitions and passions. The passion to achieve a certain academic level, some business level, amount of money you want to get, build a house, buy this kind of car, travel, win an election, be elected into a position, or a whole lot. And the ambitions you have and your desires will influence your communication. Or when you're going to talk to the person about these areas of life, be careful, because of the desires and ambitions and passions may not easily agree or agree very easily. So don't use that also to blackmail or to try to deceive the person, because you know he has a passion for this. So you take advantage of that to be able to get something, whilst your heart is not in what you're telling him or her. So just watch. Just watch when the woman is asking, the man is asking, the child is asking, the child wants to excel, wants to go to that school, want to this course of study, or when people want to marry and they are dating, courting, or when they are hurting because the relationship is broken. Someone has disappointed them. Watch all these, because then you consider the mood. There's a remote cause. And because the woman finds it more difficult to deal with than a man, emotional stuff, so it's going to affect the communication. Then the morals. And a moral or impure person will not bring out nice words in a number of occasions. The words will be vulgar. And he doesn't even see these F words and S words will just be coming here and there. And so you must be aware of that. You see, or someone who is not morally upright in character. Number 9, your faith and your spirituality. What you believe, what you worship, state of your relationship with God, the level, your maturity, spiritual maturity is going to affect a lot of things that are biblical oriented. Your prayers, the way you pray, the way you look at tithes and offerings, and from speaking in tongues to prophecy, to preaching, to singing, to attending a program and the length of time you use to go there, attending a camp, attending a conference, all of them will be affected by the state of mind of someone who is not very spiritual and sees it as a waste of time, or someone who is spiritual. So the faith and spirituality, what the one believes, how much scripture is inside the person. So it just involves the one because he's strong and active. But when it comes to spiritually dealing with this evangelistic thing, this spiritual thing, this prayer thing, this Bible thing, how much scripture is coming in instead of just a ceremony and the dresses and the food and things. And you do a lot of things. When you say, let's pray, like the prayer is being too much. You see? And when you're trying to correct also, just watch. doesn't understand spiritual things. So the correction you are giving for better spirituality, the one doesn't get it. And your spiritual state will also affect the way you talk. See, you're not in the right spiritual state. You're not considering the heart of the person you're talking to. You're talking to a heart for which Christ died. You're talking to someone's mind. You may damage the conscience, destroy someone's innocence, put poison in somebody. Okay? So be very careful what you say. So your faith and spirituality affect your communication. Number 10, your profession. See, a doctor or a nurse will talk in terms of the health of the person, whilst a lawyer will be very legalistic, analyzing everything with law and conclude according to the law. You see? And someone who is a minister, who loves prayer, who is a man of God, may always be, may veer towards the Lord. And sometimes you don't want to hear too much of that because people say the Lord, and they are lazy, they don't tell the truth all the time, all kinds of things. You see? So the profession of a person can affect somebody else in the way you talk. If you're an engineer, you may be tempted to treat people like an engine. A teacher will always want things straight and will explain a lot and will make it teaching. And they say, oh no, I'm tired of hearing this all the time. So just watch. Professions affect people's communication. Number 11. Yeah, so as you deal with your husband or wife, just watch, understand some things. Okay? Someone who is an economist or a politician, policy maker for the nation or the city, sits on a board, will always think in terms of such things. So whilst you are thinking only around home, try to help to bring his mind home. He is thinking the bigger picture of the economy. When you are thinking of something that will nourish, he's always putting a ruler, a calculator by the side of every penny or cents or that he is spending. A friend told me when you do business with very educated people is a problem because a simple garden somewhere and the cousin was an economist. He went and took this paper and pen and things, supply lines, and trying to draw curves. What is that? Something simple. Must go and plant the thing, fertilize it, buy and sell. Then he's calculating and projecting and working mathematics on it and demand curve and supply lines. What is all that? And the other person who is just a mere agriculturist, just learn how to do the cuttings and the seeds and things. See, he's wasting his time and found him too much. See, so when he's talking, he felt his abstract. So they are talking about the garden, but they are talking in two different directions. The other person felt this one is too academic with it, instead of being practical. And it's the same in the marriage. See, whilst the one is domestic and is thinking whatever it is, see, the man is maybe thinking of the car, the building, the dress, and this and that. And the woman is talking about simple things, organization of the home and the kitchen and the bedroom. You see, places you go to shop and saving a little here and there, visitors and the right colors to match. If you bring a flower home, I brought a flower home, it's not enough. There's a woman who was complaining to me, the husband will bring a flower home, put it anywhere. And when he tells me, oh, see, this kind of flower, I tries to tell him, you see, if you brought it, this is why you should put it, he gets angry. Instead of appreciating, he's criticizing him. I said, no, we are just learning. When you bring a flower home, don't put it anywhere. I brought flower to you. He's putting it somewhere. I said, okay, you be doing it and gradually help him to know this kind, you put it here, on the dining table. This one, you should go on the center table in the living room. This one goes here, and that, and that, and that. So, hey, number 11, previous bad or good experience of the way you talked to me before, someone talked to me before, or a bad experience I had concerning this issue. So if you're going to talk him or her into it, he's going to say, hey, it didn't work before. This is what happened to my friend. You see, those who come from homes where daddy divorced mom, mom divorced daddy, dysfunctional homes, and all that, where dad and mom used to fight. One of my students years ago was telling me when dad and mom used to fight, she was about 9 years old and would come in between them. Yeah, she was about 9 years old. He said those days they used to eat a lot of hot dog and beans. There was no money. Hot dog and beans, and he used to come between them and punch. When daddy was striking mommy, he was forced to come between them and punch in the stomach of daddy to stop daddy from beating mommy. So how do you expect when she grows to behave towards men and to be able to cope with things? He needs healing of the mind and heart. So when you're talking to the person, just know the background, about good or bad experience. And something she said, you don't know how to say sorry. When he said sorry, you use as a weapon. Someone who was refusing to say sorry somewhere said, it's because when I said sorry, then he was always using it. You keep doing this, then you come and say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. When you do that, you're discouraging your husband or wife from saying sorry. So you have also contributed the way you have reacted, not responded, to some statements and behaviors of your partner. Have all contributed in making him or her what the one is now. You have to deworm. Take the worms out by different behavior over time. Don't expect it to be a just one day thing, 1 week thing. No. The one may even think you are faking, you are pretending. You see, let it be consistent and trust God to work on the mind and heart. Oh, to be convinced now there's a change, okay? Then, number 12, previous good or bad communication itself. Previous good or bad communication. You see, if you keep yelling at me and you keep shouting at me and the language you use and the way you talked previously, then it's going to affect future communication. And if you know that the other one has an impression, especially in an area, then pray, ask for wisdom and how to put it without ramming it down the throat, pushing it. Remember one difference between Satan and God. Satan pushes, God leads. Satan pushes, God leads. Previous good or bad communication seriously affects a present communication. Okay, so if you know a previous communication has created an impression, built a wall, or made things sour, and things, work on that. Sometimes talk about it. Or refusal to apologize or admit something. Up to now, you don't admit what you said or did or the effect of what you said and did. Okay? Or you don't admit that you shouldn't have called my mom, called my dad. You shouldn't have, so work on some of those things. Previous good or bad communication affects. So what is going on now, which is a problem with your communication, is not what is going on now. It may be about 25%. But 75% is the previous communication or previous experience or an example which was given, which has to be dealt with, spoken about, settled. Then the person's mind and heart will be clear. Because he's seeing everything in the light of something. That's the window. If like you talk too much, the moment you open your mouth, it doesn't say it, but switches off in the mind. Because you can't say one thing and leave it there. If it is lateness, if it is money, if it is not being romantic, if the sex life is bad, if you're not appreciative, you don't open your mouth to appreciate, and you are talking about that, deal with that. But you are always bringing 2, 3 other things in. And you even emphasize that more than what has happened. It's like you are waiting for an opportunity to pour things on the other one. So when the person sees that, when you open your mouth, switches off. You see? And then when that happens to you, you end up saying what you're not supposed to say. So watch carefully. Number 13, prevailing environment. There's an environment people don't care, or a home where everyone is talking anywhere, anyhow, or people are not talking. Silent treatment and things. People don't know what's going on in anybody's life. Or because an in-law is around and it's making me be careful. Or where you are living with a family. and things like that, prevailing conditions. There are times people have complained that the wall between their bedroom and the next one is so thin, so everything here, it goes on there too. So it's making them careful about the way they talk. And typically when you are in a family home or family house, or someone is next door to spend a month or 2 months, and you can easily hear what goes on here, it can affect a number of things. Or you're loud, you don't know how to talk softly. Or you don't care who is there. Once you don't like it, you just come out. That is a very bad character. You have to work on that. You see, be nice, be polite, be wise, be sensitive to the integrity, the honor, the reputation of your partner or the person you are talking to in the presence of a third, fourth, fifth person, or even in a crowd or something. Wait till the visitors leave. You can't control yourself. Ask God for self-control. Number 14, the timing of what you say. Sometimes the wrong time you're saying it. I'm not feeling well. And this, you see, and when I say I don't feel well, you don't believe it, you still want to make love. You still want me to follow you. And you make all kinds of comments. And some of the things you try to do and brought in other things you say I have said and done, and this is what you did last year. And you brought in things from courtship. You say all kinds of things. The timing of the thing is wrong. What you're trying to put something across, but you don't know when. See, speak at the right time, at the right place. Have the right motive when you are talking also. So your timing is so important. If the one begin to think, oh, no, this is not the time to tell me this, the one can switch off. And I give you one more, number 15. I think that should be enough. Number 15, how you introduce your communication. A faulty introduction can characterize and infuriate the listener. I know you won't agree with me, but you men, when we talk to you, you women, you these people who have graduated, you who have traveled. See, if you have been divorced before, I am not surprised. So they say, hurry up when you are going. As for you. From that day, he said, as for you. That is why he doesn't come home on time. I don't even understand. Whatever. Then you go, So what does he mean by that? The devil uses these things. That's what I'm trying to say. The way you hug me and the way you responded, the way you even want to send your hand around me, and the way you kiss the person in a certain way, and all the rest of them. You don't respect my sexuality, jump on me like a hawk catching chicken. That's disrespect. You come around the kitchen area, you may not even come there. I have to do everything, even taking a spoon or a fork. You don't want to do it. You want to be served. You won't do dishes. You won't make the bed. You won't do this. I know you won't agree with me regarding this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I want to tell you the way you introduce your communication, okay? You make me angry. You see, do angels get angry? The anger is there. My behavior, good or bad, brings it out. Instead of saying, I am angry, you said, you make me angry. I'm angry about this. Yeah, that's what's going on. But you make me angry. I'm responsible for every anger. You make me upset. So I'm upset. It really bothers me. Just say that. See? And I'll lessen the tension. Do your best to lessen the tension. This is Dr. Samuel Kisseadoo. You can add your own, and depending on your circumstance, are things that affect your communication. So be working on that. And please understand your partner also. You can call me in the United States on 1-917-741-0643. In Ghana, call 020-812-6533. Ghana code is 233. Kumasi, call 0275-353-802. 0275-353-802. The email is kisseadoo@msn.com. And there's a broadcast on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, Ghana. Put in myjoyonline.com. Myjoyonline.com. Go to live radio. Saturday mornings, Ghana time, 5:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. 5:30 in the morning to 6 Ghana time. Myjoyonline.com. We have seminaries, we have counselors, and activities we do for the public. We work with schools, organizations, churches. We are not a church. We are Fruitful Ministries International Incorporated, an evangelistic and teaching Christian ministry. So contact us and let's work together. Okay, there are books also. Go to Amazon.com. There's one of the books which has now gone to Barnes and Nobles. Okay, put my name in or whatever they sell books at challenge bookstores and places. There are programs also. Let's know and make sure you work on your communication. Lord, guide and lead all of us and grant us that grace to be good communicators and effective communicators, to be agents of love, joy, peace in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you.